Welcome YouTubers and everyone watching this presentation. Welcome to Beam's Hobby Shack. I want to give my personal opinion. It might be a little biased of this HobbyKing Turnigy 116 4-wheel drive brushless racing buggy, as they call it. I got this in September of 2015. I like the features, the upgradability, and everything about it. I like the price point. I bought the almost ready to run version of it because of it. I had a transmitter, I had a receiver, I had what I needed to get it going. Plus, I was surprised they gave me a battery with it too. So that was nice of them. The thing about it is that it's been my problem child ever since the day I got it. Don't ask me why. You know, sometimes you get a lemon, and this is my lemon. But I learned a lot about it, and I really do enjoy driving it when it's running. That's when it's running. So I'm going to step through every part that was the issue, and we're going to, and then you could take it from there and decide what you think about it. This buggy is actually a replica of Kyosho Mini Inferno that HobbyKing decided to replicate. I don't know for what reason, but they replicate a lot of stuff. But the quality of parts is just not as good as the Mini Inferno. Not every part of the Mini Inferno fits on this buggy, but a lot of it do. And HobbyKing was nice enough also to manufacture their own aluminum upgrade parts. They just messed up on a couple of them. Well, not the aluminum, but on a couple of the plastic pieces. And we'll get to discuss that later. But right now, this is how I received the buggy when it came to me. Now, I broke the front shock tower the very first day. I took it out the box and drove it. You know, because I put the receiver in, bounded, I did it all out in the street. And as you can see the broken shock tower. Anyone who knows HobbyKing and aware of their parts department, you know when you buy anything from the HobbyKing, you better buy spare parts because they are at a premium. And I got to know that whatever I can afford extra to buy from them at the time I buy a vehicle, whether it's all together or almost ready to run or you know, however version it comes, I'm buying spare parts because you never know when you're going to get them. I recently in 2017 got something from back in October 2016, and that is ridiculous. All right, so you know, like I know, buy spare parts when you can. Seriously, because you're going to need it. I'm telling you, you will. The buggy looks good when it's all back together, when it's just sitting there. You have to admit, it is a good looking buggy. It looks like the Mini Inferno, just that it's not cab forward. It should be cab forward, I'm telling you. I like the cab forward look, but the buggy still looks good. So why wouldn't you buy it? I bought it. This buggy also was the first buggy that I ever seen the XT60 connectors on. Plus the ESC and the motor is by Surpass, someplace in Chechnya, or however you pronounce it, in China. I researched it. LRP also used this, but the firmware is a little different. Here it is with it all broken down, and I'm examining it after fixing the shock tower and going through it. It's a well put together buggy, tell you the truth. It's just, they're plastic pieces of junk. That's all I have to say. Even the chassis, if you ever took the whole thing apart. But I eventually started replacing a lot of it with their own aluminum product, and it's actually pretty good. I have to admit, I wasn't disappointed. So don't be afraid to get any of their parts that's upgraded, because they do a very good job. We're going to talk about the next item a little bit before we go any further. Now, I don't know what this part is exactly called. All I know, it holds a bearing, and the out drive is supposed to hold it in alignment for the center drive shaft. But what it does, it misaligns the spur gear and the pinion gear. And not only is that misaligned, I actually measured, and the motor mount actually is at a wrong angle also. So you got two areas, but one of them will fix both, so that the gear wear will be exactly even. And as you will see in the picture, how the gear, a brass gear, is wearing out irregularly because of a nylon gear that is at an off angle. If the two was lined up perfectly, neither one will wear as much or as fast as the other. And this is the biggest issue with this buggy. And most people have come up with a fix. There's people who have made aluminum mounts for that bearing holder and everything to put it back in alignment. It's a metal gear made for it also. So don't be in alarm and shock and say, oh, I'm not going to get it because there's too many problems. Believe me, this buggy is fast, it's nice, it's durable once you get everything right, and it runs great. And I like it, and you'll like it too. So don't give up hope. I'm just giving you my personal opinion, and we just going over some points with this buggy, because there are issues with it, and I'm not the only one with it, but they all are fixable. So don't be alarmed. Buy the buggy. You'll enjoy it. Now this is where most of the fuss is at, where the spur gear meets the pinion gear. Pinion's on the other side, you can't see it, but we know that. Yes, we do. Now, the spur gear is exposed to the environment and the elements underneath, which doesn't make sense why you would put a nylon gear there. But believe it or not, if it wasn't for the alignment, I think my nylon gear would still be on this vehicle, because it wasn't receiving any damages from the elements, or even when I rode into the dirt at the track and whatnot, it was receiving problems from the pinion being misaligned, and that was what was taking it out. But there's a simple fix, and we're going to just say, take the support where the bearing's at behind it, flip it around, take about a 1/2 millimeter, or cut the stub down to about a 1/2 millimeter, and screw it back in, and problem solved. It's just that you got to take a lot off in order to get to that, and you got to actually take the rear end off to actually make the thing, work. I'll show it to you later, but I just wanted to cover that for right now. The next few pics shows the adjustable turnbuckle, servo saver switch, all these things while it was still plastic. Then I started transforming and upgrading to aluminum lower control arms, upper control arms or camber links, and hub carriers, caster blocks, you know the deal, even the shocks. And I prefer Turnigy shocks over the Inferno shocks. These shocks is good. I really do like them. I got front and rear, and they're hard to come by, but I just wanted to show you the transformation from plastic to aluminum and all that I was going through with it. That's all. Okay, there's the 62 steel or metal spur gear that I'm going to install. Well, it is installed now as of this presentation, but it was really necessary. But you still have to make sure that the pinion and the spur gear are aligned properly, because you'll just wear both of them out. Doesn't matter. But as you can see in this pic here, that alignment was wearing out a brass 15-2 pinion gear and a nylon gear. Now, go figure. But this is what I'm replacing it with: 62 metal spur gear and an 18-2 Robertson Racing pinion gear. What a combination. And you can see how the spur gear is exposed underneath the chassis. That's not good, but it didn't cause really any problems. The misalignment caused more problems than anything. But you got to realize you got to take the back half of the vehicle apart in order to put the gear on and put back on the slipper clutch. And I'll give you this word of advice: make sure you put or add more grease to your differentials in that case, because the white metal that they use chews up very easily and there's barely any grease in there, and that's why it goes so fast. So clean it up, get all that grime out of there, and put a little bit more grease so that the gears stay lubricated, so that when you running it hard, it doesn't wear as fast. But it's going to wear because it's white metal. That's cheap, just so that you know. Last but not least, we're going to talk about this Buggy electronics. It originally came equipped with a 2040 size 4800 kV motor and a 25 amp ESC by Surpass. As you can see, you know, they just threw it in there, didn't even organize the wires. But I'm gonna swap it out with a HobbyWing 30 amp waterproof ESC and a 4500 kV 2435 size motor. This is after I waterproofed the Surpass ESC, so I'm gonna be getting rid of it some kind of way. I'll probably sell it on eBay or one of the networks. But as you can see, I had to put a XT60 connector on the ESC. Simplest way is to get some wires soldered onto the connector and then solder the wire onto it. The ESC wires, which are what size are they? I think they 12 gauge. Yeah, they 12 gauge wire. You can see the difference in the motor, and I'm not going to get too much into the motor, but this should increase the performance because I'm able to program it, and it can handle 3S, but I probably only run it on 2S. That's quick enough for this Buggy. And if I have to go faster, I'm pretty sure I still got it left in the box of the programming card, up it a little bit so that it can actually run a little harder and probably, you know, boost the timing and all this other stuff. Part 2 is a test run of the Buggy after repairs were made. After I ran into a block of cement or whatever it was and broke the right side front end, snapped the turnbuckle on the upper camber link and bent the lower control arm, which took it out of commission. But nonetheless, I was able to kind of throw it all back together, get it repaired. Because like I said, I had spare parts, and threw it back together. So I took it for a test run to make sure that it was working properly. It wasn't going to come apart, because like I said, ever since I had this vehicle, every time I took it out, something broke. And this test run, believe it or not, was the first time nothing ever broke on this buggy, and I'll put it up for the springtime. But when you get an opportunity, take a look at part 2, and please subscribe. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. I like critics. Leave your comments below. You can ask your questions, and I appreciate you taking the opportunity to watch this video, and look forward in 2017 for me to put out a whole lot more. Again, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more, because there is more to come.